The history of classical music, from antiquity to the 21st century. Classical music is one of the richest and most influential traditions in the world of sound. It spans more than a millennium, evolving through numerous cultural, political, and technological shifts. This article takes you on a journey through the major periods of classical music history, introduces key composers, and highlights how this timeless art form has shaped and been shaped by human civilization. Origins of classical music. While the formal classical tradition began later, the roots of Western classical music can be traced back to ancient Greece and Rome. Key features: use of the Greek modes. The lyre and aulos were common instruments. Music was integral to philosophy, drama, and religion. Pythagoras and Boethius theorized about music and its mathematical basis. Although very little music from this era survives in notation, its philosophical and theoretical foundations deeply influenced the medieval tradition. The medieval period. This era saw the development of notation, the rise of sacred music, and the earliest examples of polyphony. Characteristics: Gregorian chant, monophonic, liturgical plainchant, modal system. Preceded modern scales. Organum, the first experiments in harmony. Notre Dame school, led by composers like Anne, who expanded polyphony. The church was the primary patron of music, which was mostly vocal and sacred. The Renaissance period, a flowering of culture and humanism, brought about a musical revolution. Music became more expressive and secular themes began to emerge. Key developments: imitative polyphony. Masses and motets dominated sacred music. Madrigals and chansons expressed secular love and poetry. Advances in music printing spread music faster than ever. Important composers: Josquin des Prez, Giovanni Pierluigi da Palestrina, Thomas Tallis, Orlando di Lasso. The Renaissance emphasized balance, clarity, and emotional restraint. The Baroque period, the Baroque age, was one of drama, ornamentation, and grandeur. The opera, concerto, and oratorio were born during this era. Defining features: emphasis on contrast. Introduction of basso continuo and figured bass. Rise of instrumental music as a dominant form. Pioneering composers: Johann Sebastian Bach, George Friedrich Handel, Antonio Vivaldi, Claudio Monteverdi. The period ended with the death of Bach in 1750. The classical period. Now we enter the era that gives classical music its name. The classical period focused on clarity, symmetry, and structure, much like the ideals of ancient Greece and Rome. Signature styles: the sonata allegro form. The symphony and string quartet matured. Emphasis on melody over harmony. Titans of the age: Franz Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus, Mozart. Ludwig van Beethoven. Beethoven's later works, particularly his Ninth Symphony, mark a bridge into a new, more emotional era. The Romantic period. Romantic music delved into the emotional, the sublime, and the nationalistic. It was a time of expansion, both in the size of the orchestra and the length of compositions. Key themes: individual expression and virtuosity. Program music: pieces that tell a story. Nationalism in music: great romantics: Frederick Chopin, Franz Liszt, Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Johannes Brahms. Richard Wagner. Giuseppe Verdi. Music was now a medium for the soul, personal struggle, and spiritual experience. The 20th century, this century, shattered musical conventions with modernism, experimentation, and technological innovation. Trends and movements: impressionism, atonality and serialism, neoclassicism, minimalism, electronic music, and film scoring emerged as major branches. Influential figures: Igor Stravinsky, Arnold Schoenberg, John Cage, Dmitri Shostakovich, Aaron Copland. The century was marked by diversity and the breaking of traditional boundaries. The 21st century and beyond. Today, classical music is a global, hybrid, and digital phenomenon. Current trends: cross-genre fusion, neoromanticism, and new simplicity. Women and minority composers gaining recognition. AI-generated compositions and virtual reality experiences. A focus on sustainability, community, and inclusivity in performance and education. Modern composers include Max Richter, Alafor Arnolds, Carolyn Shaw, Jennifer Higdon, Tan Dunn. Classical music's enduring legacy. Classical music has influenced all Western genres, shaped education, theory, and cultural heritage. Continued to adapt and remain relevant in an ever-changing world, it is both a reflection of its time and a timeless mirror of human creativity. Timeline overview. Period approx. Years. Key traits. Key composers. Antiquity 500 Theory. Monophony. Boethius. Pythagoras. Medieval 500-1400 Sacred Chant. Early Polyphony. Hildegard. Renaissance Etzen Sebaidao Etzen Leobai. Vocal Polyphony. Madrigals. Josquin. Palestrina. Baroque 1600 to 1750 Ornamentation. Opera. Harmony Batch. Handel. Vivaldi. Classical 1750 to 1820 Clarity. Form. Balance. Mozart. Haydn. Beethoven. Romantic 1822-1900 Emotion. Nationalism. Virtuosity. Chopin. Wagner. Brahms 20th century 1900 to 2008 Tonality. Minimalism. Electronics. Stravinsky. Schoenberg. Cage Contemporary 2000 Present Fusion. Innovation. Inclusivity. Richter Shaw. Tan Dunn. Final thoughts. Classical music is more than a genre. It's a universal language that has narrated the human journey for over 1,000 years. From the solemn chants of medieval monks to the bold symphonies of Beethoven and the experimental soundscapes of the 21st century, classical music remains a living, breathing art form that speaks across time and culture. Whether you're a lifelong aficionado or a curious newcomer, there's always something profound waiting in the world of classical music.